Welcome to the Sovah Says channel, and we've got a Mount Rushmore Monday list for you. We're talking superhero acting roles, and which of these Hollywood elite were born to bring these characters to life. Our special guest today, to help nominate the four GOATs of the Boom Pow Bam, is none other than Scott Hanson, the voice of your football Sundays. As the host of NFL RedZone since 2009, Scott has brought you 7 hours of mostly commercial-free football right to your sofa. So if you happen to miss a touchdown, it certainly wasn't on his watch. Throughout his expansive career, Hanson has graced your television with football reporting, hosting flagship shows, and his most recent endeavor, bringing the high-speed around-the-sport style to the Summer Olympics with the Gold Zone. His dedication and boundless energy go unmatched in the entertainment industry. And now I am happy to be joined by that man, Scott Hanson, a very good friend of mine that I have known for years. Scott, how are you doing, brother?
Yunty, and by the way, for the audience, I will be calling him Yunty because that's how near and dear he is to my heart and how I've called him for the decade plus that we've known each other. I am well. Good to see you. Thank you for having me on. I am concerned. I never get nervous on camera. I am concerned about what we're about to do over the next several minutes.
So obviously, so many people know you from NFL RedZone and the NFL in general, the stuff you've done with the Olympics. But that's not what we do on Mount Rushmore Monday, and that's not what we do on this channel. We want to take another interest of yours and let people get to know that about you. So you are a comic book, superhero fan, movie fan. When did that all start?
Oh, from the time that my football fandom started, from the time that my sports fandom started, my love of superheroes and specifically comic books back in the day began. I had subscriptions, comic book subscriptions when I was a kid. We were allowed to get 2 each year. And I would tell my brother, my younger brother, Brian, to get, you do 2 different ones that I like, and I'll do 2 different ones that you also like. And that way we get 4 comic book subscriptions each year. So I had Avengers and X-Men. And now, Yunty, I'm an older man here. So this goes back early 1980s. Okay. So I'm talking John Byrne.
Sure. Chris Claremont.
Like X-Men. I mean, and the Avengers back when the team comprised of like the original 5 nucleus of Avengers and stuff. In fact, I'm talking to you from my home in Los Angeles, California. If you came over, you would see, first of all, it's a mess, so please forgive anything in the background, but you would see there's an end table over this way that has coffee table books on it, like fancy like thing, and they have world history books, the history of sports, the history of football. But I grabbed one off of it just for this. This is a 1,100-page edition. You many of your viewers will recognize this. That's the Marvel Universe, which is the encyclopedia.
Wow.
And this was an actual comic book series that appeared in the 1980s. It ran for like years, and it was called, everyone knows the MCU now, but this was called Marvel Universe, and it was kind of like the game program that you would get when you went to Lambeau Field and watched the Packers game. You get the game program, and you could see the height, weight, the position, the alma mater of the players, and learn something about them. This is how we learned, outside of reading the actual comic books themselves, about the characters. And it was the greatest series. And then they put it together in a 1,100-page anthology. Let me find someone that everybody knows and just see. Oh wait, I just passed. It's alphabetical. And I'm telling you, did you have this as a kid?
I didn't have obviously the big encyclopedia version. I have the single issues that's like, here's A through B, here's C through D, here's.
Yeah. So we have both, but like, so in other words, for people who haven't seen this before, there's Doctor Strange, right? So you get one of his images, then you get his background, his origin story, his real name, his occupation, his legal status, his other aliases, his place of birth, his marital status, his first appearance in a comic book, all of this. And then it just goes on and on about where he lives and and what his powers are and who his nemesis are, who his allies. It's the greatest. So like that's how much of a comic book nerd I am, that I still keep that out like in a place of honor here in my home. I would also say, if I might add, you and I worked together for years in sportscasting. I believe that I'm a better sportscaster than I would be otherwise because of my comic book reading as a kid. And let me explain why. Yep. So if people know me from RedZone, that's a 7-hour ad-lib show, right? We don't use teleprompter. It's just all coming off the top of my head, reacting to games and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But as a sportscaster for 30 years now, I work on a lot of scripted shows with teleprompter. Well, if you're good at broadcasting from a teleprompter, what you're doing is taking the written word and trying to put action behind it, emphasis. You're not just reading the next word that comes on the teleprompter like that. So I'm 8 years old. I'm 10 years old. I get my X-Men comics, my Avengers, all my comic books. And what is that? It's a piece of paper with ink on it, mm-hmm. Colored ink and words. You had to take it mentally yourself and give it that. When the action occurred, you had to read it with a certain pace, a rhythm, a gravity, you had to conjure up the action along with the pictures in there, right? Like when Nightcrawler teleports, Banff, what does that sound like exactly? Mm-hmm. When Wolverine extends his claws, what does that sound like?
Right.
And so so for years before I ever got onto a teleprompter on a sports television show, I was familiar and even comfortable with taking the written word and making it into something energetic and organic and more natural sounding, kinetic even, if you will. So I believe that has benefited my comic book reading, has benefited my sportscasting career incredibly.
Well, that makes so much sense. At first, I was curious where you were going to go with that, but that makes total sense. And I think we've learned something else new, is that you probably have a voice acting career, that's like somewhere that you've yet to tap into, like we could hear Scott Hanson and Halo 7 someday, or,
Is Kevin Feige a regular viewer to the program? Because if he is, Kevin, so. I'd be happy to get a Vin Diesel paycheck for I Am Groot or whatever other character they want to come up with here. But yeah. Oh, you may have heard, actually, speaking, not to change the subject, but I'm actually making my debut in the video gaming world this year. I have been hired, and I will be in the latest edition of Madden, which comes your way at the end of the summer during preseason NFL training camps. Yeah. I was hired I'm going to do halftime updates. If you're playing franchise mode in Madden, I'm going to come in, the AI Scott Hanson, but I went in and recorded all of the audio, obviously. The AI Scott Hanson's going to come and do your halftime show. If you don't skip past it, you can skip past it, of course. But if you're playing the Cincinnati Bengals and franchise mode, you want to see what the Baltimore Ravens did in their game against the Steelers or whoever. I'm going to come in at halftime of your game and give you updates as to what's going on in that game that affects the standings, all that type of stuff. So it was a fun thing to be a part of. For a kid who I played the original console Madden back in the early 1990s when I was a college kid, to be in the game now. And of course, everyone dreamed about being in the game as a player. Right. But to be in the game now at my age and at the sophistication that the Madden video game franchise has is a kick. It's a thrill.
Dude. Congratulations. That's really cool. Thanks. Really cool. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to take that love of comic books and characters, which has, I'm sure, translated to watching the MCU and whatever DC is calling their iteration of projects. And we are going to create the Mount Rushmore of superhero actors. So this is like roles. This is like the actors and their characters that you saw that and you thought, this this person was born to play this role. Like this is the living and breathing embodiment of this character. And so we talked about it a little bit before. This is a really, really tough list. You have yours, I have mine. We'll kind of go one by one here, and if I have one, if we share the same, then I'll let you know, and we'll kind of have that conversation together. But
question,
yes, sir.
Are we ranking them?
No.
Okay, so it's just 4.
You can if you want. You can if you want.
I kind of ranked them in my mind.
Okay.
So, but how are we revealing? Are we revealing like the least obvious, the most obvious, or what? Or just randomly?
If it's ranked, then go ahead and go least, or go ahead and go most obvious first.
Okay.
And then that way there may be a twist at the end.
Okay.
All right.
This is so hard, Ryan. You don't even know. It was so hard for me.
I know. All right, who we got?
Go first, or am I going first?
Do we chisel first?
Okay, I mean, look at if anyone puts this together, this guy is going to be in the running, if not on the mountain himself, and kind of the guy for MCU who really kicked it all off. But I grew up reading Avengers. I grew up reading the individual comics and even Marvel Team Up. I don't even know if that exists anymore, where one character from one part of the universe would link up with another, and they would have to just team up for one edition and beat a common foe at something. And he was featured in there all the time. And his character, his alias and his superhero character were so embodied with the first sound that we heard really when the MCU kicked off. I know you know where I'm going. And then the last sound for the real sophisticated movie viewers in the end credits of Avengers Endgame, Robert Downey Jr. hammering out the Iron Man suit. Perfect. Tony Stark embodied. The only thing they didn't really do is they didn't lean into, and I understand why they didn't lead into, Tony Stark was even more troubled than what they portrayed. Like he was basically an alcoholic at times. In the first Iron Man, he's always tipping a glass and whatnot. He's certainly a playboy. Then Gwyneth Paltrow's character comes in and kind of softens out his edges, and he's a family man by the end of Endgame and whatnot. But Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark / Iron Man goes on Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. He's obviously on my list as well.
Okay.
I know you were referencing sort of that demon in a bottle storyline where, they kind of touch on it a little bit in the second one, but it's a little more about, the palladium infecting his chest. But he does have, the birthday party where he gets drunk and him and Rhodey end up, fighting it out. That's one of the better scenes of that movie. But absolutely, and he also, had it as an actor and as a person, had his own struggles with that ahead of time, and this was sort of his redemption arc. So it almost became, art imitating life, or life imitating art, whatever order you want to go. And I think that was a huge part of making him so relatable to that character.
I totally agree. I was going to say the same thing if you didn't, is that I think he was able to actors have their own ways of getting into a character, but it wasn't a stretch for him to play this over the arc. And his death, you and I talked about this well off camera, not even today, but years ago, we talked about his death touched us and touched the cinematic world in a way that few movie deaths have ever really hit. Because it was not only the culmination and, of course, the sacrifice that he makes, but it was the crescendo of a world that had been conjured, that a cinematic world that captured our actual world for 15 years. I mean, how long did the phase one run? It was 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it seemed to get better and better and better. And then to beat the ultimate baddie and Thanos and do it in the sacrificial way that he had. And then the amazing, amazing shot that the Russo brothers used, the one truck shot through at the funeral on the hillside when everyone's in black and you're like, oh my gosh, that's that guy. Oh, that's that girl. Oh, that's the, and I get goosebumps thinking about it today.
I know, it's so
Robert
good.
Downey Jr. portraying that character, it was near perfect over the course of the cycle of a franchise.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm worried that they're going to mess it up, to be honest with you.
Okay, so since we're here on Robert Downey, and since you said you're worried they're going to mess it up,
yeah,
we need to talk about bringing him back. Is that as Dr. Doom? Does that in that moment you just talked about where he does his own snap and sacrifices himself for the greater good and to save everyone and to bring it and where? What are your feelings on that? Or is that cheapened at all in your opinion?
I mean, look it. We can speak freely here on this podcast.
Sure.
Yes. There are elements that smack of a cash grab here. And I'm not even saying for Robert Downey Jr., and he's made probably $200 million on or more.
Sure, and he's coming off an Oscar win. I mean, he can do whatever he wants.
He's unbelievable, and he can do whatever he wants. And you know what? If he has fun doing it, God bless, go. Mm-hmm. But it has elements of a cash grab, but not only for Robert Downey Jr., but the MCU needs a win bad. They need it. And they're like, well, we tried this and this and this in their last 6 to 8 offerings, maybe 2 hits in there where it was their whatever sports metaphor you want to use, their free throw percentage of hits, of releases to hits was like 98% during phase 1.
And then they finally make a critically acclaimed, very good movie, high Rotten Tomato score, great cinema score, and Thunderbolts, and it doesn't make any money. So is there fatigue? Like, are people just checked out?
I think they feel the studio heads and the creators, they're like, we need a win. And you know what? We know what happens when this guy's involved. And then, of course, we don't know the whole plot yet, but you and I know the comic book. Sure. If the Secret Wars era that's gonna come in, we kind of know where we think it'll go. They think they can put butts back in seats. So it doesn't mean it does not. I mean, look at making Infinity War and Endgame a 2-parter, which thank you, Marvel Universe, that you did that. But they didn't need to do that. That could have been looked at as a cash grab. But it was great, and it was well executed and great. It made billions of dollars. Great, it did. But when we love movies, and when that's the driving force of some of it, and I'm not saying this is or isn't, I'm just saying it kind of smacks of that a little bit, and I'm worried. I'm worried. And I'm also not a fan of the multiverse. Not a fan. It's a lazy trap door for the storytellers to be able to say, this was just a different universe. There's really were no stakes in this. No, Ant-Man couldn't have really gotten caught in the quantum realm. No, or so-and-so didn't die because, it's the multiverse, and whoops, well, this happened then. I am not a fan of the multiverse. I think they have learned that a bit, and they started to pull away from that to a degree. But I don't want to get on the soapbox here. I don't know. Sure. Hey, Robert Downey, I love you. I'm rooting for you. I absolutely am going to the movie no matter what, probably multiple times. But I just hope they put in those creative forces that gave us one of the great chapters of our entertainment lives as movie fans. I hope they have that same creative force in this film and the next 2 or 3 that have already been announced.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah,
here.
I love it.
I'm such a Dr. Doom fan too. So, when they showed up at Comic-Con and then we're about to make the announcement, I had 3 other names in my head, and then Downey's face is revealed, and it just was what?
Yeah. Wait, you were there in person?
No, just following the live stream.
Yeah, we all saw that when it went viral 10 seconds after it happened. We all saw that. I thought maybe you were standing there, and I'm like,
oh God, I wish.
Yeah, right.
All right. So we've got one. That was an obvious one. I think that's the biggest no-brainer on this list.
Yeah.
There's, I think, there's at least one more, I think, no-brainer on this list.
And I think, I'll go with it. And then you tell me if this was your no-brainer here. Also from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but only now that I'm thinking of this, I put him second. I ranked my 4, and I put him second on here because I mean, he took a character that was my either most beloved or second most beloved character from my childhood and embodied it 99.9% perfect. And it wasn't, and it only wasn't 0.1% perfect away because of his height. Yeah. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I mean, are you kidding me? The dude. And I watched enough interviews and media events with Hugh Jackman that he loved it, and I think still loves it to a degree, which is why they pulled him out of Wolverine retirement for Deadpool and whatnot. I mean, and credit to the casting directors of comic book movies for the last 20 years, Marvel and DC, they should be on their own little Mount Rushmore because they went through and found people that could not only physically look like it, and you can do things with hair and makeup and special effects, but that could embody that character and the angst, the pathos that the Wolverine character had and has, that arc. I mean, and I'm not Hugh. If you're watching this, I don't wish you were 5'4" the way Wolverine actually was. Actually, I should check the Marvel.
Well, it was so great. Exactly, it was so great in the Deadpool Wolverine movie. They did the comic accurate one. You were like, wow, you know what? That is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. We were like, no, I'm glad he's 6'1", 6'2", movie star and all that. But Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, bravo, and it paired so well with the rendering of him as a superhero. Like I said before, like what would it sound like when I read Wolverine's claws retracting and expanding and retracting for years? What would that sound like? What would it sound like for a human to punch a human with bones in their hand to punch an adamantium skeleton? What would it be like? What would it sound like? What would it look like when Wolverine went into his berserker rage and said, yeah, guess what? I'm not here to wound anymore. I'm coming for limbs. And all of that played out in the Marvel universe. And Hugh Jackman, who is a classically classically trained actor, and for those who know, Tony Award winner and Broadway and all the stuff that he loves to do that way, to be Wolverine like that, man, bravo.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has just nailed the feral side of Wolverine and the angry and even through that montage we talked about Deadpool Wolverine a second ago, where you meet all these different versions of him and these great Easter eggs with him with the Hulk or him up on that giant cross and the patch version at the poker table. He just is, you just see it and you feel it, and it's literally right off the page with him. And I think even since he started doing the role, I think it's almost the comic has tried to become more like him, because they realize just how great how he's portrayed that character, and it's so much more so the comic trying to be him as opposed to these actors that are trying to play versions of the comic.
All right, I got a Wolverine question for you. Favorite, it's your opinion, so no right answer. Favorite Wolverine uniform, and I'll give you. I mean, there's probably more than this, but I'll give you the choices here.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, street clothes Wolverine.
Sure.
He can
belt buckle and boots.
And exactly, yeah, or the jacket that the farmer's son and the barn there gave him, and whatnot,
right.
Perfectly. Black suited X-Men Wolverine comic, like
the leather one,
huh?
So the leather one from the film,
the black leather one.
Yeah.
We don't really see him in the tan and brown combination that was my favorite in the comic books, because when I was reading, that's what he was in the most. Or the classic old school bus yellow.
It's gotta be the school bus
obviously
yellow.
Dabbled with and had some fun with in Deadpool Wolverine. And there's probably more than that, but what do you put him in?
I put him in that classic yellow one. It just
really?
Yeah. I mean, if we're just talking about film version, that's like really the first time we got to see him suited up, period. I mean, it's definitely the first time we get to see the cowl, although they, in a deleted scene for the Wolverine, it's in a suitcase and it's the tan and brown one.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I think I go that, just because over the years in the comics he probably wore that the most, and then the just anticipation over almost 20 years to get to that.
Yeah.
That would have to. What about you?
Any Wolverine by me is fine, but yeah.
Oh, I will say if it's just a look, the look in X-Men Apocalypse when the kids go to Canada and they break him out and he's got got wired up and he's got the helmet on, he's like Weapon X.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bring him out, and he's like, then he escapes out into the wilderness. That's probably the coolest look.
And I'm trying to remember what his most common, I think street clothes was his most common costume in Days of Future Past, I think.
Yeah, when he's back in the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, because he was wearing 60s clothes and all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But in the future, when obviously the whole storyline that crosses over there, I think he was back in like the black, like it's scuba suit, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, Wolverine, love you. Hugh Jackman, enjoy Mount Rushmore.
Yep. Where are we going next? So we're 2 for 2. I think 2 obvious ones. 2 for 2 on the same page here. Where are you going next?
We have our choices of Chris's from which to pick.
Okay.
As we all know. And I liked this character in the comics, loved him at certain times, but the commitment that it takes to play this part and the way that he leaned into the role and even started taking it off, maybe for some people's taste, maybe into too humorous of a trajectory. But to get in shape, if Zeus is going to strip you down to your birthday suit, after you've already portrayed this character in 6 or 7 movies, and you can still make the Olympic female goddesses faint at your sight, Chris Hemsworth, you're going on my Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely. It was the moment we learned Thor had 2 hammers.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, Hemsworth, and that was quite a change for one of the key nucleus members of the Avengers to go from I am Odin's son, I am proud and I can beat anything and anyone and cocky and young and brash and whatnot, to going to the shaved-headed Ragnarok, eye missing, kind of comedic turn, but not all comedy, but sure. And then to remain as ripped and buffed as he is. You and I have dealt with football players our whole lives. That's a commitment out of Chris Hemsworth. And even the little affections he had to do to his Australian accent, to play and whatnot. I think he's on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great pick. He's not on mine, but that's a definitely one.
That's a hard cast, man, because you're gonna put him shirtless in at least one scene in everything. So you eliminate all the great actors that even have a chiseled face and can wear if he had the long hair at that time, whatnot, all that type of stuff, and who can give you the I am a Norse god, from Asgard and all this. So for him to do that and to be a quality actor, and he can pull off the humor too.
Sure.
And I also put him on there because I really appreciate, I know you love backstories like I do. Do you know the 2 backstories of when 2 great moments in 2 of his movies that were not in the script, and he didn't even come up with them himself, but someone suggested it to him and he incorporated it into the role of Thor, that were like completely memorable moments. One, well, let's see, let's go chronologically. Avengers Endgame, they're doing the time heist, and they go back to Avengers Tower in the first Avengers and whatnot. And so it's Iron Man and Ant-Man and Hulk was in Manhattan at that time too, the future, and they go back. So they interface, and Captain America was there, and they interface with themselves. And so they have comms to each other, and the plan is going wrong, and the one Infinity Stone is getting away. And future Iron Man, Tony Stark, says to Ant-Man, go into my suit of armor, like, because it was current Ant-Man or current Iron Man, and pull this thing out. He's like, is that going to kill you? He's like, no, it's going to give me like a little miniature cardiac arrest, but I should be okay and whatnot. And so he does that to he makes him fall down. How did he get revived? Thor takes his hammer and puts the stone part of Mjolnir on top of him. And goes, I don't know if this is going to work, and goes tap, and it gives a little lightning bolt into Iron Man's chest. It's like he got paddled in an emergency.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a suggestion by someone that you and I both know from our sports world, Matthew Berry. You know that name?
That's so funny. He's the weirdest person to be in that scene.
He wrote. He got a cameo because the Russo brothers and some other members of like some other key figures in that whole world of Avengers Endgame and Infinity War are big fantasy football fans. And Matthew Berry's a huge comic book nerd. You should have him on your podcast too, by the way. Yeah. And so he wrote up a thing he was working for ESPN at the time, like a multiple page, great long read of his experience going onto the set, let alone they said, hey, we're going to give you a little part. So Matthew Berry, when they were going to revive Iron Man just like a normal way, like, oh, just give him some room, give him some air and stuff like that. And Matthew Berry just kind of leaned over to somebody during a take and said, to be funny. And Hemsworth heard that and is like, Joe, Anthony, let's try this. Let's try it. And they did it, and it makes it into the film. That was one. The other one was made it into the trailer and was one of the great parts of the movie is, please welcome your undefeated, reigning world champion, the Incredible Hulk. And Hulk busts through champions. And Thor's sitting there not knowing what's going on and whatnot. And then he recognizes this Hulk and he goes, yes, he's a friend of mine from work. That was not written in the script. That was a line. There was like a little, I think the story was like a kind of a young boy, maybe 10 years old, 12 years old or something like that, who was a big fan. And he got to be on the set just to watch the filming for like a half a day. And in between takes, he said, what would be funny is if you said, yeah, he's a friend of mine from work. And Hemsworth said,
nailed it.
You know what? That would be funny. Joe, Anthony, let's try. Or that wasn't the
Taika.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Taika Waititi. He goes, Taika, let's try it. And of course, Taika loves any gag lines that he can put in. So they did it and it pulled it off. They made it into the trailer. It was one of the great lines in the movie and whatnot. So anyways, I'm going on too long. Chris Hemsworth, he's a moldable character. He's obviously able to go on an arc with the character. Great actor, chiseled, ripped Thor.
Yep.
The God of Thunder goes on our my Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
Okay, so we didn't agree on this one though. You got someone else.
Yeah, so I don't want to reveal just in case they're yours, or I can, and then you just tell me if
you tell me which one you think is less likely that will be my last one.
I am gonna say, I think this one's. I'm gonna say I don't think this one's on your list. So I'm gonna go with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Yes, and as we're talking, I'm like, how could I leave Ryan Reynolds off my list?
I mean, he's basically Van Wilder with a sword and a machine gun and a horribly scarred face. He's been born to play this role for years. Like, it's just kind of who he is, his inherent crass, sense of humor and he's always been like had a really nice superhero build as well. And nobody, I can't imagine anybody figuring out the role the way Ryan Reynolds has. And it's every single one of those movies has been great. Even when they made the Christmas version to tone it down to PG-13, and the way he kind of navigated through those scenes with Fred Savage, like to me, Ryan Reynolds has to go on there, and that's why he's my third member.
Excellent choice. And why Mount Rushmore needs to add another like 10 presidents onto it so that we can extend our list, because I can't believe I don't have him on my list. I mean, that's a terrible oversight. I would add this: Ryan Reynolds, huge credit and respect for jumping back into the superhero pool, pardon the double entendre, after one or 1.5 epic fails at it. Green Lantern, he talks about it in his his life biography and his interviews. But then even as Weapon X from the early one, he hated that one, which is why he shot him in the head, the sewn lips.
And there's another Marvel character he played.
Oh.
In a Blade trilogy.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen every Blade.
So the third Blade movie,
did not see Blade
Trinity, he plays Hannibal King, who's one of the Night Stalkers.
I did not know this.
And Wesley had this really bad relationship that I guess was very contemptuous on set. And then when Blade comes out in Deadpool and Wolverine, he makes that joke that I thought I'd never see you again, or I thought you hated me, something to that effect. And that's a callback to, is their
right over my head, but good pull right there. But I do you agree with me that I think he deserves huge respect for that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the fact that he went back in time to kill himself reading the Green Lantern script is the most beautiful meta joke of all time.
I mean, self-effacing, breaking the fourth wall, talking, because if you read the old Deadpool comics, I'm sure they still make new ones right now. Sure. But that character was so unique in comics and is so unique. And when I went to go see Deadpool, I went and saw it with my cousin, who's in the Hollywood scene out here, and him and I, kind of grew up together as buddies. We both love comic book movies and stuff. We're like, okay, a rated R superhero movie, so they're just going to have gratuitous nudity and F-bombs in it? No. I mean, there obviously were. Sure, but the language that they used in there, while objectionable to many, and I can respect that, it was not like, let's go for the low-hanging fruit. Right. Ryan Reynolds can cuss in about 9 different languages and in ways that is like he pulls it off where it doesn't even seem like that. Yeah. And then the violence would be mixed in with, some 1980s yacht rock song that they would put in there. The opening credits to the first Deadpool is so Angel. Just Call Me Angel, or and brilliant. Yep. And he was born to play that. And as a Christian myself, I'm not such a big fan of the I am Marvel Jesus, but I did respect that he did he's in the cab with Dopender in 2, I think. Mm-hmm. And somehow he starts talking about how Deadpool 1 performed worldwide in cinema. I forget what the context was.
He's relating it to the Passion of the Christ film and how it did.
But I don't know why they were talking about why Deadpool 1 was a movie that, whatever, and stuff like that. He's
I think it's an R-rated.
He finished second worldwide to Passion of second in American history to Passion of the Christ. Number 1 in Europe, where they don't have religion. That's what he said, or something like that. And it was like he's just brilliant. Him and the people that he surrounded himself to write that part. And he was very, very involved in the writing. Mm-hmm. Bravo, brilliant. Yeah. Well done on the Mount Rushmore. All right, so you got 3, I got 3. We have one divergence. Yep. Okay, my last one. I mean, this is so tough. But this guy came into our world of entertainment in the last possible circumstance that you would ever consider him to become a Marvel leading man superhero.
Ooh, this is good.
He didn't look like it. He didn't act like it. When he came into our world, when we as a viewing public first heard of this actor, if you would say X number of years from now, he is going to be a star, stud, leading man, franchise, you'd be like, no way, no chance. And you'd be like, what superhero could that guy play? You don't have it, do you? I
don't have it. This is really good. I have I think it might be. I have who I think it might be, but it's really out of left field.
You want to say who you think it is, and then I'll give you one more hint, and then you will get it.
Okay, I'm gonna say Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, that's a good one too. And I actually considered him. I also considered Paul Bettany as Vision, which I think he pulled it off. And those guys come from, dramatic backgrounds and all that. This guy was an overweight, stumbling, bumbling buffoon in our introduction to him in the entertainment world. And then he got on the Ozempic or the P90X or whatever else and ripped himself up for his first shirtless appearance in the MCU in his debut. And now he is the lead actor in not one, but two major Hollywood franchises.
Aha! Chris Pratt.
Ding, 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 ding. Did you watch 30 Rock or not 30 Rock? Excuse me, Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, yeah.
I mean, he was great in that. He was awesome. Great. He was lovable, fun, funny, but he was a buffoon, overweight. Narrated well. All this. If you would tell me that guy, and of course, Guardians of the Galaxy humor is a parallel storyline in Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. I put him on here for that reason, the range that he played and where he came from to where he is now, and the fact that he made me like Guardians of the Galaxy. Ryan, when that was a comic book, I mean, it still is, but when that was a comic book and it came out, I'm like, I tried it once or twice, and I'm like, talking raccoon, tree, this guy who calls himself Star-Lord, and his powers only seem to be 2 ray guns and some kind of a mask that what does that do? Just let him breathe and then jet boots? What? I dropped it within like 3 or 4 issues of trying it. And when the trailer came out that they had made Guardians of the Galaxy as a movie, when Marvel was on this type of a roll, I'm like, this one's going to be the one where I don't. And the original Guardians is a top 5, for some people probably top 3.
That's movie. A great list to do at another time.
I mean, that's an impossible list. Don't have Matthew Berry do that with you. No, but for him, and I like him as a dude as well. I think he'd be fun to hang out with if you watch him in other stuff, or you watch his interviews and stuff like that. He just seems to be a dude, so Chris Pratt is my last guy.
Okay, well,
and I feel horrible that I left off.
I do not have Chris Pratt. I agree. What a great embodiment of that character. He just gets the humorous part and the being the only human on he gets the humanity part, right, of that character and but I had to go.
What are they going to do with him? What are they going to do with him? Remember at the end of Guardians 3,
right? He's back on Earth
eating cereal, and which was a callback to something. And it said Star-Lord will return. Is that just because he was signed on to other movies? Is he's going to be in Secret Wars, or they're doing a Star-Lord standalone? Are they going to do another Guardians? I mean, James Gunn is gone.
That's a great question. There was some concept art that was leaked over the spring, and it had a picture of it was a rendering of him, and I believe Wong. And some of these young Avenger characters, like the Cassie Lang, Riri Williams. So they were all like at a table sitting down. So I don't know if he's going to take some sort of like mentorship role with the young Avengers / champions. I don't know if they really know. I I don't know. I don't think he's going to be in Doomsday. He's probably going to be in Secret Wars in some capacity.
He's made gobs of money. He doesn't seem to be a guy who's caught up in the Hollywood scene like he has to, feels like for his ego, needs to remain relevant. But he also seems like a guy who loves making movies and loves entertaining people, which is kind of a weird dichotomy. But so I don't know, but I'll go see it if and when he plays it again.
Yeah. I think his next move, if he's going to move to something IP wise, with his relationship with James Gunn and James Gunn now running the DC side, he probably, leads a franchise over there, or is at least a big time supporting character in one of their big projects.
Interesting.
I would guess.
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm sweating a little bit because I literally did not want to whittle this down to 4, but I've laid it out there. Hit me up on social media or in the comments about where I messed up, how dumb I am, whatever, what you loved about it. I'm happy for it. But Yunti has one more, and I want you to do it like try and do it like I did it. Go a slow burn and see if I can buzz in and if you don't mind.
Yeah, no. Okay, let's see. So this character is we're going to go back. We're going to go back a ways. We're going to go back to before the MCU. We're going to go back to the 80s.
Ooh.
And further to a actor playing maybe the most iconic role in all of superhero status.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think I can buzz in now.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. Lay it on me.
I am not a Superman as a character fan at all. I don't understand overpowered characters like that other than Kryptonite, he really has no weakness, so there's no drama. Batman, being the complete antithesis of Superman, is a way better character to me, way more interesting. His flaws, his codes, just the darkness and inside. But what I will say about Christopher Reeves is he captured that boyish charm, that naivety, and just old. He's
an alien. He's an alien at the end of the day,
right?
And
for him to those first 2 Superman movies are absolute classics and laid the groundwork for everything that the MCU is. The MCU, more than Tim Burton's universe or Joel Schumacher's Batman, the MCU wanted to recreate those first 2 Superman movies as close as they can. Family friendly, humor involved, and epic action. And I think Christopher Reeve, without him, there is none of this. He set the bar so high, and it's just that I can't see a Mount Rushmore that I create without him as Superman.
Respect, salute. I'll say this: Henry Cavill, I think, did a great job in his turn as Superman. I have hopes for the new Superman, and I just watched Superman 2 for the first time in I watched it when it came out.
Sure.
I'm young enough that I went to the movies when Superman 2 came out. I watched Superman 2 for the first time in 30-something years or more.
It's probably been like that for me too.
Just a month ago, I watched it. And it just holds up. The General Zod and his
Terrence Stamp's so good in it.
And then it's just fantastic. And then the slow burn of him. Burn literally is when she figures it out, of Lois Lane discovering her, which is one of the dumbest things in all of comic books. And
when he falls into the fire pit or whatever.
Exactly. And they're in Niagara Falls. They're posing as newlyweds because they're doing a story, some expose for the Daily Planet. Anyway, and she had suspected it a couple of other times. She threw herself over the balcony,
right,
thinking that, he's going to turn into Superman right in front of my eyes, and I'm gonna see it. And then he wiggled out of that. But then when he goes in the fire, he's like, okay, the gig is up. And also I love you and you love me type of thing. They even pulled that off, although even as absolutely preposterous as it is to believe that Lois Lane or anyone else wouldn't be able to go, hey, this guy Clark Kent really looks like this guy, about the same height, same hair color.
It's the best. It's the best gag of the whole thing.
But you know what? We willingly suspend all sorts of belief for our beloved superhero movies. But Christopher Reeve, great choice, man. Great choice.
I will say that the biggest thing when making this list that I had to tell myself, or that a rule that I had to give myself, was they had to play the role for more than one movie. Because if they didn't, then you're like, well, Ledger's Joker or Jack's Joker. There would be so many.
I thought you were going to say Jack's Joker, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe,
Heath Ledger,
Robin. Like there were so many that. So that was like the one first ground rule I laid down so that I could do this impossible list.
Do you have snubs? I have my list here where I'm
give me a couple snubs here.
I thought about throwing you a massive. Well, one of my biggest snubs was I actually have all men on my list, not to make it about we got to have 2 and 2, whatever. But Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
I mean, come on. Even though that the 1984 Wonder Woman
terrible.
didn't hit the mark like the original did,
right?
But every superhero has a weakness, and her weakness is her complete inability to be any less hot on camera at any given time that she's.
I know.
Oh, she's gorgeous, but then she's got the strength. She's got she also pulled off the Amazonian raised fish out of water in World War II England and then Germany and whatnot. Absolute chef's kiss in casting her. And I don't know if she's doing any more now. I'm not sure if she's done, but
I don't think they are. I think they're moving on from all the character from Zack Snyder's,
from their Justice League. Yeah. Here was going to be a huge curveball, even though he and his character wouldn't belong on there. But if you just did it, hey, you got one shot to cast someone in. And again, I'm coming from a comic book reading background where I was like, what would this guy sound like? What would he look like? How would he be rendered in a live action film? Of course, with all of the weird, with all the weird misses that have happened, I watched all of Lou Ferrigno's Hulk series and stuff, but they were limited by, we just got to paint this muscle man up and then have a fulcrum underneath a car that he can lift up. And that's about all we can show that he has incredible strength.
Right.
Okay. When CGI caught up with the imagination of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and the rest of them, that's when the whole world opened up. And I always wondered what this villain would look like and what he would sound like. And quite frankly, it was a departure from what I think I or any other comic book reader would have guessed. He was the lead villain in only one movie, MCU. He was sarcastic, could go toe-to-toe with Tony Stark in one-liners, an actor that you never thought would be like a big, strong, powerful threat if you've seen his whole body of work, you're like, go do a rom-com, go do a sitcom.
God, the first thing I thought of was James Spader, but
ding, ding, ding. Okay. Yunty knows his movies, bro. He knows his movies. I thought James Spader, who, if you write out Ultron's entire dialogue, he only has, a certain number of lines, but right. I mean, come on, I can't physically throw up in my mouth, but if I could, and he didn't even finish the sentence, right? Or you've obviously never made an omelet, and Tony Stark beat me by 1 second, or he cuts off Andy Serkis's arm, his character's name I forget, and then he creates Claw. He creates Claw by that looked like it hurt, you know. And James Spader has that quality of voice. I thought that casting was unbelievable because Ultron was just a killing machine robot kind of. Yeah, he had super knowledge and stuff, but it was before the internet, before you could actually embody other computers, or that Stan Lee and the crew could think of that could be a thing. Like, he was just a killing machine robot, but adding that aspect to him like that, and James Spader, bravo. But I couldn't, not on Mount Rushmore, but in terms of marrying an actor with a part, boom. And they better multiverse resurrect his butt in Secret Wars, because I need me some more Ultron.
Yeah. I think you're going to get Ultron in a new Vision series. I think that's already been announced. So,
okay. You know what I do? You know, and you read in this part of your thing, I try and limit myself until something is out and available. I will only spoil things for myself, or I will set expectations that are probably unfair.
Right.
Like Red Hulk, I stopped watching. Captain America, I stopped watching the trailer because I'm like, you know how when the movie, when it's like Wednesday of opening week, they put out a trailer that's basically going to tell you the whole freaking story and whatnot.
I know.
And where the early teaser trailer doesn't even just suggest that there could be a Red Hulk appearance or whatever.
So yeah, I agree with the Gal Gadot. I definitely had to debate that. If there were a couple other ones that definitely, are on the cutting room floor, I would say Wesley Snipes' Blade, who we talked about a little bit earlier, and Sir Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier. To me, like those characters were so great.
I mean, that's why, we had 1,200 pages basically.
Literally. They'll never run out of characters.
Oh, Yunty, I love to love you, my man.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this list. I know, you probably lost a little sleep like I did over making it, but I can't thank you enough for coming on and doing a Mount Rushmore Monday with us.
Ryan, I appreciate it. All the best to you. And to those of you watching and listening, please, I'll give it several days, but I'm going to dive into the comments, and I want to see what people say about my list. And I'm not above my coaches being my critic, or my critics being my coaches. If I totally messed it up, and granted, it's just an opinion poll, but Chris Evans as Captain America, or like ScarJo as Black Widow is perfect. You could have gone so many different directions. I want to hear what you folks have to say.
That was Scott Hanson on a Mount Rushmore Monday with his core 4 superhero actors.